What's up? Shalom Aleichem. Peace be upon you. It's Eitan ben Avraham here in the holy land of Israel. And I want to share a Hasidic story with you that's been on my mind. A wisdom story coming from the Hasidic tradition going back to the Baal Shem Tov. And in this case, it's a story about Reb Zusha of Hanipol, who was the brother of Reb Elimelech of Lezhensk, who was a student of the Maggid of Mezrich, who was a student of the Baal Shem Tov. So we're coming two generations down from the Baal Shem Tov, a Hasidic Jewish spiritual master. If you want to get into a fictional metaphor, kind of like a Jedi master, like somebody who sees beyond, somebody who's in a different realm, someone who's a teacher, a spiritual guide. This is a story about Reb Zusha and about authenticity. A lot of people are confused. A lot of people think that they're supposed to be somebody else, right? And when I heard this story, it changed my life. So once upon a time, there was a little Yid, there was a little Chassid who was sitting in a Beit Midrash, in a study hall, right? Because that was sort of the sacred congregation space of Jewish men back in the day, in the shtetl, in Eastern Europe. And he's sitting there in the study hall, and he looks to his right, and he sees this great Torah scholar who's been up since early in the morning learning, who's absorbing information, who's absorbing halacha, Jewish law, who's absorbing Jewish wisdom, and he's just filled with Torah and light. And he thinks, what's wrong with me? Like, I grew up with that guy. Like, I'm not nearly as learned as he is. I'm not nearly as spiritual as he is. He's like, why can't I be more like him? And then he looks to his left and he sees this incredibly wealthy businessman who is taking some time out from his business with which he makes Shabbases, with which he gives tzedakah, with which he welcomes guests. He's a pillar of the community, right? And he's also learning, and he's this incredibly menschlichkeit being, right? And he says, I grew up with that guy too. And look how much more successful he is with me in business and Parnassa, and how he's learning Torah and he's doing all these amazing things. Why can't I be more like him? Like, I'm just missing the boat. I'm just missing. I'm missing something. What's wrong with me? And so he's walking around and he's feeling dejected. And he runs into his friend and he says, what's wrong? And so he starts telling him about how, he's just feeling as if he's not who he's supposed to be. He grew up with these guys and it's like there's something wrong with him. And so he says, you need to talk to Reb Zusha. So he goes and he talks to Reb Zusha and he tells him about these two people who he grew up with, who are both in different ways so much more successful than he is. And he just feels like he's a nebuch, he feels like he's a nothing, right? And Reb Zusha says the most incredible thing. And when I heard this story, it changed my life, right? Reb Zusha said, when I die, I'm not afraid that when I get to the heavenly tribunal, when I go up to heaven and I'm sitting in front of the Beit Din Shamayim, they're going to ask me, Reb Zusha, why weren't you more like Moses? Reb Zusha, why weren't you more like Avraham Avinu? Reb Zusha, why weren't you more like David HaMelech? That's not what I'm afraid they're going to ask me. I'm afraid they're going to ask me, Reb Zusha, why weren't you more like Reb Zusha? Why weren't you more like you? Because you see, and when I heard that, it completely changed my mind, because it's like, I'm here to be me. I'm not here to be David HaMelech. I'm not here to be the Baal Shem Tov. I'm not here to be Moses. I'm here to be me. Reb Zusha, why weren't you more like Reb Zusha? You're here to be you. You're not here to be the rich guy. You're not here to be the Torah scholar. You're here to be you. God created you to be you, right? And as soon as you realize that God created you to be you, then you can start walking your path, because you're not here to walk anybody else's path. Right? And so when he said, Reb Zusha, why weren't you more like Reb Zusha? It hit me that I was here to walk my path, and you are here to walk your path. You are made in God's image. You have a unique spark inside of you. Every single one of us is here to shine our light. Right? But what that means is we need to go deep, and we need to find out what we think, what I think. And it might be similar to what other people think. It might be a similar path. It might not. Right? But so may Hashem bless you to go inside. May Hashem bless you to listen with your inner ears to your soul, to what's going on inside you. And may Hashem bless you to begin your path of being more like you, which is part of what Aleph Male is all about. Thank you for watching, and shalom.